It's North London in focus again this afternoon. Harry Kane on the verge of history. Spurs looking for revenge from their second half mauling in Manchester just a couple of weeks ago. And a twist at the top with Arsenal beaten yesterday. How will the champions City respond here at Spurs, where they've never taken a point or even managed to score? These the teams, and Spurs revert to the side which won at Fulham in their last Premier League action, pretty much at full strength now, with Emerson Royal keeping his place after the arrival of Pedro Porro as a right wing back, Højbjerg and Bentancur in midfield, and that front three of Kulusevski, Kane and Son, but strength building in reserve now, where Danjuma is on the bench along with Richarlison. Manchester City do make changes. A hamstring injury for John Stones means changes at the back. Kyle Walker comes back into the side, and as captain, Rico Lewis keeps his place, perhaps at left back with Nathan Ake switching to centre half alongside Akanji. More on that in the moment. Bernardo Silva comes into midfield. There's no Kevin De Bruyne. He's not selected. Phil Foden not involved today. He was unwell overnight as returned to Manchester. Mahrez and Grealish in the wide areas, and Julian Alvarez starts behind 25-goal man Erling Haaland. And there is so much at stake. City with a chance to get within 2 points of leaders Arsenal. Spurs with a chance to get within 1 point of Newcastle and the top four. No Antonio Conte today as he recovers from surgery. Christian Stellini is the man in charge for Spurs, and he and Pep Guardiola have been talking to Jeff Shreves.
Christian, first bit of team news. Antonio hasn't made it. How is he, and how much will he be involved in today?
Antonio is well. He's recovering. He's at home. We are sad because we have not the start from the doctor to let Antonio come here and stay with us. So he will watch the game at home, and he was involved until this morning. But at the moment he's at home, and we don't have a special communication here today. So me, Ryan, and all the staff, we have to work. We are in charge to.
What were your thoughts when you saw that Arsenal were beaten yesterday as well, and today is now a possibility to draw closer to them?
No, I would say more focus what we have to do today than yesterday. Of course, when there's some team on top of the league and their point is, it's better, but. Nothing changed. We have to do our job, and that's why I was all day and thinking what we have to do today.
Did he pick the team, or was it a joint effort?
No, we spoke about the team, but he left me the decision because I manage the training, and it's very important in our methodology. Look how the players are during the training session. In the last two training sessions are more important, and Antonio left me the decision.
Phil Foden not make it due to injury?
No, he was there yesterday in the hotel, and he felt unwell all night, really, really bad, and she should come back to Manchester.
And Kevin De Bruyne not starting, purely tactical?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely tactical. Kevin De Bruyne on the bench for Manchester City today. But what about this defensive shape from them today? Well, Jamie Carragher is down on the pitch now, hopefully gleaning some clues for us. Jamie, have you seen anything from the warm-up that points us in the right direction?
Well, not too much from the warm-up, Dave, and obviously with the back four that's been picked, we're just trying to work out. Basically, they're doing a little bit of possession here, but will Kyle Walker be in his known position at right back? Will Rico Lewis be at left back, or will that be Nathan Ake? It remains to be seen, but at times Manchester City can be in a back three, especially when they build up from the back, and that has been the big question this season for me, certainly when you talk about City not being at the best. It's more defensively. They conceded 8 more goals this season than they did this stage of last season, so there's been a lot of chopping and changing. You'd normally expect Diaz and Laporte to be the first choice, certainly central defenders, but that hasn't been the case this season. It's been these two, Ake and Akanji together. You see Kyle Walker come together with Rico Lewis there. Maybe I can give them a little shout after. I'm not sure they'll take too much notice from me, but maybe we can gather something here from the actual warm-up. Erling Haaland maybe playing the holding role as well there, but he's out the way. But if you actually look at that there now in this warm-up, Kyle Walker looks like he's right back. Akanji, Ake and Rico Lewis has been an absolute revelation playing at right back, then stepping into midfield. It looks like he's now going to be a left back. So there's your back four. I think we've got the information that we needed, Dave.
Yeah, exactly. We got there in the end, didn't we? That looks pretty conclusive. But if we'd said a year ago, Micah, that you'd have Aymeric Laporte and Ruben Dias available, John Stones injured, and neither of those two playing, you wouldn't have believed it, would you?
Yeah, I think it's strange, isn't it? But I think Pep's gone on form. I think Akanji has done really well this season, bedding in. Ake has probably been City's best defender, along with the emergence of Rico Lewis. In the later stages of the Champions League, I would hope the other players, Laporte, Diaz, in the big games, that would come back into the side. But as for now, he's playing players on form, and it's been justified.
Doesn't that tell us how much faith he has in Rico Lewis, that he's prepared to let Joao Cancelo go and in the same week play Rico Lewis potentially out of position at left back?
I find it strange. You're talking about big games. This is a big game, not Champions League. The next game is the big game. They saw what Arsenal did yesterday. This is an enormous game for them. I find it strange. I have to believe, given the last game was 9 days ago, that the changes have made. I mean, for me, there's at least 3, if not 4 substitutes that would be in my strongest Man City team. And I just wonder if I don't know if he's trying to make a point with some people, if he feels people are not at it. I think the emphasis is on they have to train properly with Pep. And I just wonder if he's seeing a slackening with some players and he's trying to send a message, because this is a big game for them.
It certainly is, but they have won back-to-back matches, looking to make it 3 straight today. And this is the man they've got to stop, Harry Kane, who is on the brink of history. Spurs goal number 266 for Harry Kane came at Fulham. This was it, and he needs one more to become a Spurs all-time record breaker. Could it come here against Manchester City this afternoon?
You'll never stop this thing. I will never let you go.
Sponsored by Bet365. Sponsored by Bet365.
15 minutes away from kick-off. These the key team news lines. Emerson Royal keeping his place despite the arrival of Pedro Porro for Spurs on deadline day from Sporting. An unchanged front 3 as well, with Heung-min Son, who's scored in all 4 wins here against Manchester City. And of course, Harry Kane, 16 for the season, 266 now in a Spurs shirt, 1 short of the record. Kyle Walker back as captain for Manchester City this afternoon. And as the warm-ups have just shown us, it looks like Rico Lewis, who keeps his place, will line up at left back for City today. And a start for Julian Alvarez, being paired with Erling Haaland, who already has 25 goals for the season. And naturally, whenever these two sides meet, a lot of conversation about Erling Haaland and Harry Kane. But perhaps equally significant, Graham, Heung-min Son started against Preston while Harry Kane had his feet up and scored 2 goals, and we saw him smiling again. How important could that moment be?
Yeah, I mean, strikers feed off confidence. He has had a quiet time by his own standards. He obviously had that fracture around his eye. That could affect you big time, I'd imagine, if you're a striker, not quite wanting to go, or you might get a crack on it again. We know what his qualities are. You can't get in a race with him. He gets his shots off in tight angles. He's just a smart footballer. Like him very much, but he has, and I'm sure he would agree, a quiet time by his own standards.
Perhaps that's why it's so important to have the pace of brain's gone.
Alvarez.
Kyle Walker. Right back for Manchester City today.
Of course, yeah.
Listen, in terms of Manchester City, they won the title last year without any strikers, Micah, and today they've got 2 in their starting lineup, Erling Haaland and Julian Alvarez. How do they work together?
Well, we've seen in the first game a couple of weeks ago with Spurs, and half-time it wasn't really working. They opened up a little bit in the second half and played really well. He's going to play in that Kevin De Bruyne role in that number 10. He's got great energy, obviously a World Cup winner. It's going to be difficult in terms of the link-up play, because they always want to run into the same spaces. So when that opportunity comes, they're both sort of in each other's way, where we know Kevin De Bruyne likes to come a little bit deeper to get that assist for Haaland. But in terms of
on feeding duty today,
I know,
Mike.
yeah.
That's it.
I can't believe he's not starting. But yeah, have him in the team. He's full of energy. He's in good form.
Yeah,
So,
that's
why
a
not?
mystery to me. How could you play Alvarez instead of De Bruyne? 4 goals, 15 games. I mean, De Bruyne, for me, on his day, is as good as there is in the world as an attacking midfield player. But what you'll get from Alvarez is the hard yards, and maybe that's what he feels De Bruyne's not giving him at this time.
It's a big one, this. We can't wait for it. Tottenham taking on Manchester City, and the question for the home side, can they make it a fantastic 4 in a row against the champions?
City on the road again, here at Spurs, where they have lost their previous visits.
Angle from Lucas Moura. Oh, what a debut! Stevie Bergwijn. Oh, there's no flag, and it's 2-0. Delirium now for Tottenham.
Here's Son. He's done it again. And here is Lo Celso, freshly introduced and scoring. An impact off the bench, and an impact for Tottenham.
Son lines it up. Oh, Son Heung-min. It is a hoodoo ground for Manchester City. Make no mistake about that.
You'll never stop this thing. I will never let you go.
Sponsored by Bet365.